It was a beautiful day as Lamprey's Matteo Bono saw it, and he went away early with 5 co-conspirators. The bunch let them ride, with Omega Pharma Quickstep and Movistar collaborating to make sure the pace on the Côte de Saint-Roch remained as photogenic as possible. Sure, it means a little track standing at the back, but the fans will help out. Well, except Jan Bakelins, whose day would really be downhill from there. Several teams took turns managing the gap at the 10k per minute rule until around 100 kilometers out, when Europcar and then Quickstep began whipping up the tempo in spite of Bakelins finding himself on the side of the road at 96k to go. Bakelins again endured a mishap on the Côte de Haute-Var at 81k to go, which was even worse timing as a rotating cast of believable but unlikely winners had just begun applying some serious wattage, and in the case of Garmin's Ramunas Navardauskas, theatrics, to the front of the field. The surging came with crashes. Around 76k to go, Lamprey's world champion Rui Costa was taken down, and then moments later, a botched out-the-window repair sent an AG de Zur rider sprawling across the tarmac. Finally, BMC and Saxo Bank imposed order on the field, enough that riders felt comfortable with full-stop nature brakes, but the pace remained strong as the brakes margin went down to 3 minutes by the Côte de Vecquet at 60k to go. In fact, the pack seemed to embrace the order and rolled into La Redoute en masse 15k later. As the brake hit that climb, Bono used the increase in elevation to unleash his desire, wasn't too stuck in the moment to dodge this debris, and powered on ahead to where, at least according to Google Maps, the street has no name. The pack took a steadier approach, and only giant Shimano's Warren Bargill broke free, later joined by Trek's Julian Arredondo and Bakelins, who'd taken a momentary break from having things go wrong, but determined favorites snuffed the escape over the top of the climb. At the head of affairs, MTN Quebec's Jacobus Venter regrouped briefly with Bono, but on the Côte de Forget at 33k to go, the Lamprey rider told the South African that he'd go with or without him, as their advantage was barely a minute. Garmin's Alex Howes eventually turned persistent Surgis at the front of the field into an escape, just in time for Bakelins to need a new bike again. But by 25k to go, Howes was caught, and a few minutes later, Bono as well. And with 20k to go, how is this race still all together? Pacemaking on the Roche-Faucon climb by Palso Vivo's AG Desert squad and a counterattack by Arredondo finally established a break, and while it stirred some favorites behind, they continually marked themselves too closely, no one having the power or getting the gap they thought they needed to commit to a serious move. A fast descent into Liège saw the diminutive duo recaptured at 11k to go, and immediately Orica-GreenEDGE went to the front, setting tempo to keep the attacks down. By the Côte de Saint-Nicolas at 6k to go, they'd not only put Peter Veining near the front, but placed Simon Gerrans just a few riders down, out of the surprisingly dense scrum back in the bunch. IAM Cycling's Stefan Denifil briefly broke clear, and Katus's Gianpaolo Caruso used his recapture to launch an attack with the resurgent Pozzo Vivo on his heels. Alejandro Valverde made an attack to get across to them at 5.2k to go, and for the first time I think all day, Gerrans responded. Valverde's hesitance was indicative. Even in the final kilometers, no one wanted to commit to working if it meant helping a rival, leaving Veining to come to the front at 1.6k to go to bring back the escapees for Gerrans. The cool of Garmin's Dan Martin is legendary, and today was no exception as he sat at the back of the field, not so much as hinting at an attack until he slingshots off Lamprey's Przemysław Niemniec just inside the final K. Tinkoff Saxo's Roman Kreuziger responds, but he can only hold the Garmin rider's advantage. Caruso attacks Pozzo Vivo just before the crest of the hill, and Philippe Gilbert decides that it's now or never in terms of chasing down Martin, but he doesn't have that top gear. As Valverde, Gerrans, and Omega Pharma Quickstep's Michał Kwiatkowski come by, he can't catch the wheel. Martin, meanwhile, has caught Caruso and seems ideally positioned, but in one of those freak, only-in-bike racing moments, he slides out. There are ripple effects as Kwiatkowski has to swing around wide and can't quite get back onto Gerrans' wheel before the GreenEDGE rider launches. With Valverde chasing moves from about 20k onward and having already been on the front for the previous 100 meters, all the 08 champ can do is hold the wheel as Gerrans comes by. I'm Cosmo Catalano, and that's how the race was won.